So how do we get it started? Where do we begin?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the beginning.
I'm Caroline Nedlick. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I heard about Honor Society in 2009. Loved it, loved the music, and I've been following you ever since. It was a shock to me when they decided to break up. I thought they'd be together for years to come.
Take a seat, grab a Snapple, do whatever you're gonna do. Get ready for Honor Society.
Honor Society started out of something else ending, which was a band that I was in all through high school and college. But, other opportunities came to the table for some of the guys in the band, and so it just kind of abruptly ended. And I found myself left with the decision to either be super bummed about it and sort of wallow in that, or the opposite, which was what I ended up doing, to sort of just at least mentally say to myself, I'm going to find other band members and I'm going to start something new.
So I found out yesterday how easily things can change.
Well, and that's how we met. We met when you were in that other band, Velvet Frog, and we played a couple gigs together in college, Maury Styles and Velvet Frog. You've heard the Maury Styles.
Maybe.
But it was right at that point. It was right after college, right? And I saw you at Jared's birthday, and you said you were writing stuff, and we caught up shortly after that.
Yeah. The goal was to just find like-minded people musically, but also from a work ethic standpoint, and sort of knowing that no matter whatever curveballs the industry threw at us, that we were just going to figure out a way to make it happen and to get our music out there. I called a mutual friend. You guys know my friend Dave, and we go back to elementary school. And I was like, I'm looking for someone who can do like this, and this. Like, plays keyboards and some guitar, and like really loves Prince and like Hall & Oates, but like also loves like Led Zeppelin and like all this stuff. And he was just like, dude, you should totally just call Rosen. And it was like a light bulb that went off of my, over my head. I hadn't seen Jay in a couple of years, but we had gone to high school together, and he was probably the perfect person. And then him and I just started writing, and the chemistry was apparent from the beginning. And then I think we sent you some of the quietest demos ever to be recorded.
It was like silence. I remember having it on like 30 on my car stereo. And I would have to like pull over to the side of the road to like turn the engine off to hear it.
Well, we used to record them at his parents' house.
With Phil Galitzin, right?
With our friend Phil, and we'd do it way into the night. So a lot of the demos were like, break up, break down.
It was amazing.
Break up from a breakdown.
Like super quiet.
I mean, they were quiet, but I heard the songs, and I was like, it was something I'd never even considered doing, like the pop music thing. I grew up with pop music, but I was coming out of college where I did jazz and like jam bands and like way too many notes. And so it was so refreshing for me to hear, these songs that I could sing along with and play, and that's what really attracted me. And the first show was at CBGB in like February of 2003. February of 2003.
First of all, that's amazing, because to play CBGBs is like, it's like the holy grail of dive legendary clubs in New York City. And then on top of that, in classic sort of Honor Society fashion, we didn't conform to the surroundings. Yeah. So,
it was all indie bands.
It
like
was
in
all
Brooklyn.
indie bands, and we were coming in like, like super like swaggy, like I don't even know. Just we did not fit the mold. That's what was always cool. Almost every situation we went into was a lot of weird looks at the beginning, and a lot of people coming up to us after and being like, you guys are actually pretty fucking good.
Which is something that like kind of followed us forever. It's like nobody expected us to be any good, and they're like, actually.
Why does this guy have like a sweatband pulled up halfway up his arm? I'm like, you want to know why? Because it's 2003. That's why.
But a lot of those, I mean, we only had a few fans at first that followed us from that era, but they followed. You know, I remember like Aaron and Allie and like that whole crew. They like saw some of the earliest shows and kept on coming out. You know, as things changed.
We had a manager that he taught us a lot in certain areas, but also was sort of
distracted, you know,
Yeah.
doing other things, and,
Yeah.
and we really wanted to focus on Honor Society, but we met Kat through him, and Kat knew you.
Yeah, so we said to Kat, it was like this big sort of thing, you know, do you know anybody? And it's amazing what you get when you ask for it. Like when I called Dave and I was like, I need a guy that's like bop, 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 and he was all that and more. And we said to Kat, like, do you know like a young gun, like dope drummer who's like gonna be down to work, you know what I mean? And it was just like, poof.
Yeah, she's like, I do, but I think he's retired.
Yeah.
Which I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the first audition was at a studio in New York on the west side called Montana.
Do you remember what happened that day?
Yeah, so like, so I remember we were playing, and I want to say it was like the first or second time we were running through the song. Like we'd just gotten set up, and like the owner or manager, whatever, came into the room, and he's like, "Hey guys, like I just want to show the room off to some like prospective clients. Like, can you guys just like shed on something for a second?
Just play a song.
Yeah, just play a
We're
song."
like,
Clearly thinking, yeah,
What?
clearly thinking that we had been a band for a while.
Yep.
And it was our first time ever playing together. It went really well. Like,
so much so that like the people that were in the room like stayed for the whole song. They're like, you guys are really good.
Yeah, like
Like,
really
what
tight,
are you
really
doing?
tight.
Yeah.
Nice great chemistry.
Yeah, we're auditioning this guy.
Yeah.
It was the end of 2007-ish that you joined the band.
Yeah.
And at that point, we had a couple residencies, right? We were playing at Olives in Nyack, and we were playing at Kenny's Castaways for nobody.
I mean, that's what you
In
guys sold
in
me
New York
on.
City, yeah. but we had to do that. It was like, like we were rehearsing together. It was the first time we had like real chemistry and like something truly that we all felt confident moving forward with.
Prior to Alex, the whole time was spent trying to get a record deal and trying to like write a certain song that would be on the radio at that exact moment.
Yeah, it changed when Alex entered the band.
Totally. I think a huge change too was like everyone who had been in the band prior. There was always this feeling of like kind of looking at your watch, looking at their watch, like I gotta be somewhere else.
Like, am I getting paid for this?
Am I getting paid for this? And when it was me, Jay, Andy, and Alex, it was like time didn't matter. We didn't mind hanging out for weeks and months at a time, just
Yeah.
working on songs. Every free hour we had.
This is the Honor Society den.
Okay,
The man
this is-
cave we used to call
This
it.
is like
This is where the drum set was. And all the equipment here, we've replaced it with a foosball table.
And you put up with this noise,
Oh,
literally.
Absolutely.
Every night we were together. Like, there was just so much passion, just a reinvigoration of the whole thing, and we were all just willing to do whatever it took.
The residencies really started to build where it was like, the first couple weeks it was 5 people, then it was 10 people, then it was 20 people. I think that sort of like stoked the fire as well. It's like we had
Yeah.
people walking in off the street just, oh, what's going on? Like, what's going on Main Street? Like now
What are all these
people,
kids
yeah,
doing
what
here?
are
What's
these kids?
going on?
Exactly. If I remember, like the first song after I joined the band that we sort of wrote was See You in the Dark. It couldn't have gone better. Like, it couldn't have gone any better. We wrote that song, and then a couple weeks later, we played it at this show. The venue's called Main Stage in like Pompton Lakes or something.
Pompton Lakes with Article A.
Yeah. And I remember actually
Dude,
it was really funny.
It was fire, man. I
We
remember
had
it
like
so
this
well.
elaborate
Intro.
This one's called See You in the Dark.
Keyboard shredding and
By the second time we hit the chorus, the first time we played it, there's probably like 20 people in the room, and they're all like singing it back to you, and it was just like instant. That moment where you can't replicate.
Timing wise, every band in New York still coming off of like the indie, Strokes kind of look, and we just wanted to go in a completely different direction, just straight up preppy.
And honestly, I think it was at the time like a more natural direction. Didn't grow up in the city, you know, we did grow up in the suburbs.
You guys had my like maroon sweater on, you couldn't tell me nothing, bro. And the bow tie, and you had like your tie, and I think like the checkered sweater vest.
Yeah, the vests and the whole
Jade
thing.
had his like red tie and black sweater vest, I think.
It just kind of went that direction. We all committed to it. And then we had our first photo shoot with your cousin Richie.
Yeah.
And that first photo shoot was at your high school.
Yeah.
It really worked. I just remember being there and being like, we're on to something special. You know, musically and just like the world we were building, you know, the vibe.
So Tale of Risky Business was our first EP. We really labored over every single solitary detail.
We wrote See You in the Dark. We had Why Didn't I? And The Takeover. I remember The Takeover was another big one that we all were like really psyched about.
That was a crowning achievement.
Yeah. So we had this batch of songs that we were really excited about when we needed somebody to record them. And I remember, again, MySpace.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Saying,
like, we got a message, like, we had the conversation, like, the day before.
And we need someone who has, like, experience. It would be awesome if they had experience with, you know, hip-hop and urban music and also rock music.
Yeah, and we need to, like, we can barely pay them.
Yeah.
So who are we going to get? I called you immediately. I was like, what the hell is going on? It was Chris Thice. I look at his profile. He's in Waldwick, New Jersey.
Which is literally
two blocks.
Yeah. I rode my bike to every session.
Yeah, man. And he was exactly the guy.
Yeah, here's my resume. I've worked with Lenny Kravitz
Wu-Tang.
on the rock side. Yeah, and then Swizz Beatz.
Oh,
Swizz Beatz, yeah.
A total swish.
The most iconic.
I sang vocals in his, like, attic.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I had a nanny cam.
Yeah.
Could have been making out and making plans to run away.
Well, the other crazy part is I remember, like, we need to, you know, we're a band, we need to record, like, basic tracks, like drums, bass, and, like, a room. And he's like, oh, yeah, I mean, I guess we could record at Lenny Kravitz's studio.
So here we are at the Hotel Edison in Times Square. We're preparing to record at the studio of Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah, I think we were one of the last records recorded in that studio.
Yeah.
But it was a converted ballroom. It was massive, like massive space.
Right in Times Square.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Right
it was
in Times Square.
Really crazy, and like everything sounded so great in that room. Like the drum sounded huge because it was just like vaulted ceilings.
You played Lenny Kravitz.
I played his
1960
64 P bass, I think. It's amazing. That thing
The
was
bottom
amazing.
line is when things are going right, it's just so right.
Everything was so inspired. Nothing was forced.
We only trusted each other's tastes.
And this is all happening in like a 5-month period. If you really take like January 1, 2008 as like sort of like the start of the band, 5 months in we have this amazing record and we've like covered all of this ground.
And at the same time as all this was happening, we were doing live chats.
Yeah, we used to do live chats right here. This wasn't here, this ping pong table, and we used to set up the H and the S.
It's the first time like that technology did not exist before.
Yeah.
We were like, oh wait, there's a tool that we can use to like talk to people and they can see us. And,
As a band, it came down to, you know, we can't tour. Our music's not on the radio, but there's this amazing resource to like talk to kids in Kansas or talk to kids in Canada.
we booked a tour that way.
Yeah.
That became then the idea of the Under the Sun, Under the Stars tour.
We're launching a summer tour. It starts July 11th. The Under the Sun, Under the Stars tour. Definitely be on the lookout for that. That should be posted early next week.
I remember when we talked about it, we were like, this idea is like batshit crazy.
Yeah. Well, I guess for those who don't know what it is,
Yeah.
our concept was like, we don't have a booking agent, we have all these fans, how do we get out to them? I guess we could just contact them directly. Why not?
Let's play in their backyard.
Yeah, we'll play in their backyard, we'll play their pool party. Every weekend we'll hit like a different region of the country. We'll drive out and we'll just like post up in that region and just hit as many shows as possible and then drive home.
Pile into your parents' minivan.
Yeah, totally.
Dude, Al, in the minivan.
Yeah, dude, this was how it was.
And also, nobody else was doing that at the time.
I remember my roommate at the time was a lawyer. He was like, that's a terrible idea. I'm like, can you like help us draft like a 1-page contract so that like
We can't.
so that like we don't get sued or we don't get murdered.
Can you sign this paper that says you won't murder me?
We didn't know what the fuck we were doing. we told people like, oh, if you book this house party, you're gonna get to see the honor roll.
We'll teach it to you.
We'll teach it to you.
Except we have to make it up first. So minor details.
The honor roll. Oh, the honor roll.
Again, inspiration does, crazy
That's true.
stuff.
That's true.
I remember we were like driving out to the first show and we totally forgot about it. I still to this day swear to God we totally forgot about it, and I feel like Andy, you brought it up.
Someone was like, oh shit.
I remember we literally had to huddle up before we did it. We're like, all right, fucking, it's this,
Starts to the left.
And
this, and then a little.
I love our fans, but almost no one really got it right.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, that's
very
it.
few. Very few.
It's like.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it was a great idea because it caught on. It caught on like in a big way with "See You in the Dark," the song. The honor roll was the dance.
I mean, it's pretty simple. It's like Soulja Boy had a hit song and he had a hit like dance that went with it. We were just like, well, maybe we'll try.
See you in the dark.
The band had all of this stuff happening, and we're in Boston and we're playing this house party for this girl, Leah Cotton. And, we're playing the show and everything's going great. So I get this call, this, gentleman by the name of Ned Spector, and he introduced himself and he was like, hey, I'm working for the Jonas group. We'd like to talk to you guys. Are you anywhere near Hartford, Connecticut?
I'm like, actually,
and we're like,
we're an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
Conveniently.
Exactly. We'd love to have you guys, to the show and see everything and talk to you guys.
Yeah, we're playing our own show right now.
We're kind of busy. I don't know.
I truly believe most other bands would have just been like, hey, we gotta go.
Yeah.
And we were just like, oh my God, how are we gonna bring it to
how
them?
are we gonna bring it to them?
Like, oh my God.
I remember
we have to leave the party, 15 minutes early.
They were just like,
go! Oh my God! Yeah, the freak out and then like, go! Like, what do you need? Use our shower. I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna take a shower in your bathroom. They wanted to work with us. They wanted to manage us. They wanted us to kind of come on board to everything that they were doing. And I remember we were freaking out. We were like, this is amazing. But, you and I at least had been through, been down a couple paths a few years before where like we heard from labels like, oh yeah, no, we're all about it. Let's do a deal. And then it falls apart. And then it happened again and it fell apart. So we didn't let our excitement get the best of us. I think we played it pretty cool. The final thing, they wanted to see a show.
Exactly.
The Jonas Brothers wanted to see a show.
Everything was like amazingly like just storybook.
It was our biggest show.
Yeah.
It was like a 300 capacity room and we sold it out.
I remember sitting down at the drum set and literally, again, like a movie,
Yeah,
as the intro is coming to a close and our first song is starting, they file into the balcony and sit down.
I wanted them to see the excitement of the crowd on our own merit. It was like a disciplined thing for me to not look up at the balcony and let the audience know that anyone was up there, because I wanted them to at least see a couple of songs where they saw how passionate the fans were for what we were doing. Mm-hmm. But then I do remember the moment where I on purpose looked up at the balcony and like one girl's like, and then it was just like, like total absolute mayhem. Yeah, it was exciting to say the least.
I'm thrown overboard, I'm drowning, lost without a lifeline. It's high tide and I am sinking.
I remember them coming into our dressing room after that show, and it was very quick. They were like, we gotta run, but that was amazing. They stayed for the whole show. Hands were shaking, and it was like, we'll be in touch. But I remember then just a couple weeks later having a conference call with them. We were all standing in the train station parking lot in
I was
Waldwick, New
just
Jersey.
about to bring this up. Of course it's the train station.
We're on a conference call, all four of us standing in opposite ends of the parking lot.
Yeah.
Like, fucking dancing around. They're like, I remember Mr. Jonas was like, so we want you to fly out at the end of October. The guys have a show at San Diego Sports Arena. We want you to open that show. We're going to put you in the studio. We want to have, they're doing a couple more shows at MGM Grand on these 2 days.
It's like 15,000 people.
I'm like doing backflips
Yeah,
in the
I'm
parking lot.
I'm like mute.
We got off the phone with them, we went to your house, and we booked tickets. Everything changed after that.
Just here at the airport. Hey, what's up? We just landed in LA. Well, Burbank, but you know.
No time.
8 a.m. personal training for like 2 hours. Then you're in the studio for the entire day.
As soon as you get out of the studio,
You're
we're
going to
in rehearsal. Yeah. Yeah, and it was
full on boot camp.
Well, it needed to be boot camp because
Yeah.
we showed up on
Halloween.
October 31st. By November, I think it was like
15.
November 15th, we played San Diego Sports Arena.
This is going to be. I mean, I'm speechless, honestly.
We came here to rock. We're gonna deliver.
This is amazing.
So we had 2 weeks to record a bunch of songs, to have enough to like play them, and then to do a photo shoot. You know, like all this stuff happened in 2 weeks.
And honestly, to take, you know, what was a really great show, great live show in a club to the arena level, and it had to look seamless.
Walking through the arena when it was empty and just looking at the stage while they were setting up, you know, the lights and the sound and listening to sound check, and I was just like, what the fuck have we gotten ourselves into?
Yeah, totally.
This is gonna be amazing.
And you know, to the whole Jonas group's credit, they prepared us incredibly. I mean, truthfully, like
we were like machines.
You know, they weren't at necessarily every rehearsal, although they did come to a lot of them. But just the advice they gave us, even the day of, about how to go from playing to where you can see the last person's eyeballs to like you're just looking at, you know, a flashing of lights in the distance and how to affect those people. And the reality was, because some people asked me later on, they're like, you know, how did you guys not, like, were you nervous? And it's like, we were nervous, but like when you really get into those kind of situations, it's like, it's really two options. It's like you were gonna totally bomb, or you're gonna like
rise to the occasion.
Yeah. You know, we get to sound check and they're just like, you know, everyone's cool if you use the catwalk, and I'm just like,
I could
a
catwalk. I was gonna ask. I'm used. I usually use the catwalk. The catwalk is part of my routine.
I mean, luckily I'm I'm down with catwalk schematics.
Yeah. Everything goes like as well as it possibly could have. We had these really rad "See You in the Dark" T-shirts, and we saw them in the crowd.
We're 3,000 miles away. We're clearly in someone else's territory.
Yeah.
To see them in the crowd was awesome.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
That was the intro for us to the arenas. And after that, it was kind of more of the same. We were hanging out all the time. We were writing music all the time. We were recording. We were playing shows. I remember we did some amazing shows. MGM Grand, Mexico City.
Yeah. That's
right. Oh, yeah.
With a broken finger.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Just a freak-ass accident.
We were playing flag football last night. It was a brutal matchup. Well, Andy happens to be kind of accident-prone. He went to grab someone's flag, and his middle finger got twisted up in their shirt, and he dislocated it in both spots.
I believe like that.
It was shredded.
The term that you used was splizzat. Blizzat.
Blizzat.
So it went like
It went out
and then
over.
blizzat, blizzat, blizzat.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. As freaked out as I was, it turned out to be okay. What do you mean, Al?
100%.
What do you mean?
And you have it in a splint, and the whole time, your picking hand, you just have your middle finger down, like, and then you'd like do one of these, or like,
everybody, let's go.
Giving the whole crowd.
It was incredible.
And along with that, we kind of got into the groove of LA, and we started to play around with this new thing called Twitter.
I think the first time we really dug in was with when we went to Pinkberry.
What would happen if we said we were going to a location and told fans to meet us there? You know, hey, everybody, like, if you're in LA, we're going to grab some Pinkberry on Sunset and Fuller and come hang.
This is madness. This is bananas. There it is.
Awesome. That's
TTT.
was LA that spring, the spring of 2009. You know, we were doing Pinkberry parties, we were recording our record, we were playing random one-off shows with Jonas.
And then, yeah, we got to do something that not a lot of bands get to do.
We got to be in a movie.
We got to be in a movie.
The Squeakquel, Mike Bruno's trailer. And here's Alex
Yeah,
Noyes.
what's up, guys?
Dude, can you
bro? Dude.
Our manager got us this meeting, and we like went into a boardroom for like all these like suits who were like sitting down each side of like the
table,
the long conference table. This is not an exaggeration. Show us something, kids.
Yeah.
So we'll put you in our movie.
It couldn't have gone any better. We met with the head of music. He's like, "You're in."
Yeah.
It was like
So
the
basically
Goo Goo Dolls dropped out.
And
You're in, and
Slash. He's
dropped
like,
out.
we thought we had Slash on the hook, but he just canceled today. Do you want to do it? And we're like,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
yeah.
like, I was kind of like, can we just get Slash? I would love to see Slash do it. So yeah, we got to be in the opening scene of Alvin and the Chipmunks 2, the Squeakquel. Clever pun there. You know, our first movie or anything on screen was like a full-on crazy production, and you almost got injured.
Almost got injured
again.
again. I have
Really
a
close
streak
call.
of near injuries. At the end of the scene that we're in, there's a big explosion which happened right next to me on my side of the stage.
A planned
yeah.
explosion, like
Yeah,
pyrotechnics.
He's like, "Don't cross this line." I'm like, "Cool, I got it. I'm pretty. I'll pay
But he
attention."
totally undersold
He
it.
undersold the
He
pop.
undersold the shit out of that pop. It was
He
an
oversold. Don't
explosion.
worry about it.
yeah.
Most people watching this will not have been in your bathroom,
Yeah.
but typically wherever you've moved on, you know, in your different places, in your bathroom is a huge framed picture of Andy. Like, anyway, the opening scene called for like a festival sequence, and they needed a band to be playing themselves, doing this festival concert, and sort of Alvin and Simon and Theodore get into these hijinks on stage with the band, and so we got chosen, and that was pretty crazy.
Dude, that is a wrap. Alvin and the Chipmunks. Amazing. Alvin and the Chipmunks.
We had a show at Irving Plaza scheduled for right around Valentine's Day, I believe it was.
Which is a huge venue for I think all of us growing up
Yeah,
around
totally.
New York City, and just we've all seen bands there, and total like milestone place.
So yeah, and to put it in perspective, like our last New York City show was at the Knitting Factory for about like 250, 300 people.
Yep.
And then the very next show we book in New York is for over 1,000. It's like
Yeah, it's
over
1,200,
1,000. Yeah,
yeah.
1,200 cap room. And I remember when we booked it, I was just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Seems like a reach.
Yeah.
But the on-sale was crazy.
Yeah, the on-sale went really well. We actually sold out before we made the flight.
I think we sold out in a day or
Oh,
something.
really?
Right in that
We
weekend
sold out
we
quickly.
sold out.
Yeah,
Really?
And we were all just like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I just remember.
I don't
like,
remember that.
I remember being like in a hotel, and Phil called us and was like, "Tickets are going pretty well." Like he kind of like, teased it. He's like, "We're sold out."
Honor Society at Irving Plaza, sold out, one night only. Be there.
But that's how things were going at that time. Everything was going so well.
So we did the New York show, and then to follow up, we did an LA date at a similar venue at the House of Blues on Sunset.
Which sold out also.
And I think it was at that point that we sort of were like, this could work.
Yeah, we're on something.
This is unreal. We're 3,000 miles from home. Oh my god.
Hold up.
We're ready for it. Let's go. House of Blues. Right here, House of Blues.
It was an exciting time. We had like all the things you dream about when we were young, like cases, road cases with like Honor Society stenciled on it and all that stuff.
Because all this was leading up to the summer tour with the Jonas Brothers in 2009, and I remember when we got all of our gear, all of our brand new gear.
And we are getting ready for tour.
Yeah.
New gear.
Got gear
Tour
everywhere.
gear.
It was the same thing as like what I was talking about with the catwalk thing originally, where it's like we were just trying to act like we'd been there. It's like, okay, so this is this is my backup amp because I've only ever had one other amp.
One amp, just one amp.
But this is just like I may or may not even use this one.
Yeah.
Here's what you're trying to tell me right now.
It's just an extra.
It's just like
a little extra something.
And it was amazing. It was fun. It was really a lot of dreams coming true. So it's tough to prepare to start playing stadiums.
Yeah. Everything has to be larger than life. You talked about earlier when we went from the club to like the San Diego Sports Arena. You can just look out into black and you know there are thousands of people out there, but you can't even see them.
You know this song is on MTV right now.
Got another question and I need an answer, but you won't speak to me. Got another problem that I need solving, what are you gonna see? Don't act like you don't care, cause I know you do, yeah you do. But I just can't figure it out, I'm not over you, over you. And I just can't leave it alone, I'm not over you, over you. What happened to the days when I knew all the ways to make your body move? Trying to get it back, but the distance grows and no one feel it too. I can't act like I don't care, cause I do. Yeah, I do. But I just can't figure it out. I'm not over you, over you. And I just can't leave it alone. I'm not over you, over you. And you just won't pick up the phone. I'm not over you, over you. And I know I'll never get through. I'm not over you, over you. I ripped up these pictures of you and me. I tried seeing other girls, but they were just a distraction. Never the same attraction. Going crazy over you.
Do you need tickets to the Jonas Brothers show? Don't do anything if you want tickets.
I just can't figure it out. I'm not over you, over you. And I just can't leave it alone. I'm not over you. No, I'm not, baby. Yeah, you just won't pick up the phone. I'm not over you, over you. And I know I'll never get through. I'm not over you, I'm not over you. 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 I'm not over you.
Am I being recorded? Chuck from Newark says this crew is A1.
We had the opening part of the tour for the Jonas Brothers, opening for them in arenas and all the different huge places, and then we were simultaneously planning our own headlining tour, the Full Moon Crazy tour. So we were gonna, for all these cities that we're gonna be in, we would play the arena and then we would do the after show.
This idea we kind of borrowed from Justin Timberlake, who you had seen like a couple years prior. He was doing his huge like arena stadium Future Sex Love tour, but then in every city he would do like an after show that was a little more intimate and like a little looser,
yeah, like a club show,
like
like
Roseland,
1,000 to 2,000 people, and it was awesome.
So we pitched that idea to our management, and they loved it, and they let us do it.
We got the official Full Moon Crazy Tour Honor Society headlining. Report to the dance floor now!
See you gotta catch me off guard, man.
Night after night, you know, we'd do these double shows and kids would like start showing up and more, and as like the tour went on, it just got better and better. It was really great.
To our credit, again, we you know, it wasn't just given to us. They like presented us with the opportunity, and then we hustled so hard to make it happen. Morning TV, then like radio, for example, then going to a movie theater and performing at a movie theater, and then we would go to a Verizon store and do an in-store signing at a Verizon store.
Business time.
And then we would go to the arena before the show, and our manager Ned would run around with the bullhorn, and it was like announcing the coming of Honor Society. Like, Denver, Colorado, are you ready to party?
Make some noise for Honor Society. Wow.
How powerful do you feel with the bullhorn?
It's pretty, like, once you get over that initial, like, feeling a little self-conscious and, like, overbearing, if you let that go, then it's great.
Wait, does somebody else have a megaphone out here?
The goal was, and we found out this number later, but like, you know, we knew that by the end of the summer we would have played to, it was, again, no exaggeration, 1 million people.
1 million.
So in that time, how many people can we make an impression on?
It was a great experience recording that record. I remember we were all like, I was a little intimidated by John Fields because he's such like a musical mastermind.
Are we really doing that or no?
Doing what?
That's
just how I sing. That's really how I sing it.
And a bass player.
And
you never had it easy with recordings. First it was John Fields, then Adam Black's.
Yeah, it was always like these epic bass players ended up being our producers, and I'm like,
You're like Seinfeld?
Fashionably Late was our debut major label record on Hollywood Records, and it came out September 15th. All of a sudden, we were in Billboard magazine at number 18.
To me, that's truly one of my favorite moments of Honor Society. I really mean that, because to me, the Billboard is something so in stone, and that I have that chart actually framed at my house, and it's like, you know, number one was like, it was like Jay-Z, and like Kings of Leon is like somewhere in the top 10 there.
Yeah.
Muse. And to see Honor Society there, like in print, to me that's just something I will always be incredibly super proud of, and I will definitely like pass on that framed thing to like my kids one day.
We also had Over You was our single at the time the record came out, and it got reviewed by Rolling Stone. I remember we were at
it was a pretty good review.
It was, yeah,
Was
it?
it?
3 stars.
Yeah, no, for Over You at Rolling Stone, yeah.
I remember we were at the Barnes and Noble
I do remember
in New
that.
York City, and we went to like Iraq, like we didn't go to Iraq.
I don't think we knew that it was in the back. I think we just picked up the Rolling
Stone. Fox was on the cover or
Yeah, we just
something?
picked up
We picked up the
random-
Rolling Stone, and I was like flipping through the reviews. I'm like, oh, Over You.
It was truly a rewarding tour because, you know, we had been working so hard over the summer to like build a fan base and to sell our record and to get our name out. And that was the first time we really went out on our own. Rubber's meeting the road. Can you, on your own, stand and deliver on like a real headlining tour? You know, we had to go back to a lot of the same rooms we played over the summer. And, you know, see how you sort of stack up.
Yeah.
And it was really, really rad to see more kids than we had in the summertime. Like, the word was like...
It was growing.
It was growing, and it was spreading. It was word of mouth. It was just like, you know, people who saw us in Chicago, you know, went home and told their friends, and the next time we came through town, it was them and their friend, or them and their 2 friends. It was just like, it was just bubbling.
Somebody scream! She's a pistol pointing at me, smoking from her head to her feet, packing the heat. She lethal with the license to kill, the letters ripping open the street. She's a heartbreaker, like a masterpiece. She look at it better than me. She's the baddest girl I ever see. How could something that's so wrong be exactly what I need? Sing it!
This guy is just standing in the middle of the road. We're in Montreal. It's literally just standing in the middle of the road.
Put your hands
the year ended on like a total high note because it was in December. We had just wrapped the Fashionably Late tour. Everything had gone well. The record obviously did, very well. And we were in a hotel room for some reason. Our manager was like, "Hey guys, can you come up to my room? I have something to tell you." And he's like, "Guys, you guys are going back out on tour with Timbaland."
Oh, shit, that's
with Timbaland,
right.
yeah.
And we were just flipping out.
Another one of those things that we had sort of definitely not foreseen, but had really put out in the universe.
Yeah.
Truthfully, we were all huge Timbaland fans.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, huge. From all the Aaliyah stuff, all the Missy stuff, all his stuff, all the Justin stuff. Like, while he wasn't known for touring, it was just like to be on that tour and to be close to him. He's a total legend. We went from playing to full-on screaming, excitable teenage girls to straight up dudes. Yeah, it's like to this day, it's like hard to explain to people.
Dude,
it's like
it was such a different world.
Trust me, it
dude,
happens.
What about P.D. Pablo?
We're with P.D. Pablo right now. P.D., tell him what's up.
Let me tell you something. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But check this out. Honor Society, you better get your motherfucking mind right. Honor Society is the shit. They ghetto as hell. Hold on. Hi, I'm Kurt Loder for MTV News. Rapper P.D. Pablo and Honor Society has just hooked up and made the greatest record ever. Hey, it's going down, man. I love y'all, man. Peace out. Hey, man.
So I remember getting frequent calls from our manager, Ned. It started off pretty soft, like, you guys should think about doing national anthems. We never really pushed back, but I remember really, hardcore just being like, no, that's not our thing. It's way too much pressure. If you mess up the lyrics, it's just you get totally screwed. We don't have an arrangement, I don't know, it feels a little boy bandy, just singing. Although we did love to sing a cappella because we could all sing. So over months, 6 months, he would just constantly be harping on it. And then one day he called me, and I was at Ralph's. I was at the supermarket, and he's like, "Listen," he's like, "We can get the Pro Bowl. It's gonna be millions of people on TV. You have to do it." I don't know, I guess we're just gonna do it.
Yeah.
And now, to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, Honor Society.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming in the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
In history, it's just one other Pro Bowl and one other national anthem that gets sung a million times. But to us, it was
special,
really special moment. Yeah. And then we gave our manager the green light. We're like, book us for every national anthem ever.
The Here Comes Trouble tour was just awesome, and we also Here Comes Trouble was the single that was on the radio. It was burning up the charts on Sirius XM, and
true.
It was growing. Everything was growing. We were selling even more tickets on those shows than we had the previous headlining tours.
Yeah, to me that was kind of the end of Act 1. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It kind of even with selling more tickets, didn't it kind of just like somewhere deep in your soul feel like the luster was just a little bit off?
Yeah. We hadn't put any more music out.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's just shuffling your set around.
When you're a band, you might tour for 18 months on a record. So for 18 months, you're constantly struggling with that. Like, how do we make it fresh? How do we make it new? This is our third time to Chicago in 10 months. Like, how do we make it new and exciting for them all over again? I think we all felt that, but I think we also, that tour finished up in May of 2010, and I think we were all fully expecting to go out on tour during the summer. And we got back from that tour, we came back to LA, and we sat.
First things first, we need to put out another record because we haven't in about a year and a half at this point. So we got to hand pick our producer. Who do we want to produce this record? It's this guy, Adam Blackstone, incredible bass player, incredible musical director for countless artists.
Superstars.
Jay-Z, Beyonce, Justin Timberlake. Yeah, Maroon 5. Yeah. Nicki Minaj, Drake, just to name a few.
Never heard of him.
It was such a refreshing experience because he sort of was open to, hey, what do you guys want to do?
It was collaborative.
Yeah.
Definitely collaborative. Yeah.
Once again, I'm in the studio with like a superstar bass player. I remember laying down the bass part for One of a Kind.
I remember this.
And I was like, I don't really know what that, like, I was doing this and this. And he's like, here, let me try. And he did one pass through the whole song, just like first try.
He Blackstoned you. First he turned his hat around.
Dude, yeah, he was like, shoot.
Yeah, he was really like, you could do something like this.
It's why we called that record A Tale of Risky Business 2, is because it felt a lot like A Tale of Risky Business 1. We found the perfect producer, and we had the same vision. We were just like, listen, we want to make a rock record that has hip-hop influences and R&B influences, and we want to merge those two worlds, and that was the goal.
Hey, who are you here to see tonight? I've been around the world. I've been around. I've been around the world.
Very happy with the way that record turned out.
Yeah.
And while when we finished putting that record together, you know, again, we're back to independence. So we were recording and producing this record independently on our own and booking a tour. Our first back to independent tour, which was the Wherever You Are tour. So that was like a whole thing too, getting that tour off the ground on our own. And it was an awesome tour. We were playing smaller venues, but we were still doing well and pre-selling the record, you know, pre-selling the EP all over again. The record came out in October of 2011, not on a major label.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like an iTunes release, and you know, we did a run of a few thousand CDs.
The great part about it is, you know, it was our first release on our own record label. And it charted. You know, it's funny because, you know, the first record going top 20 was obviously, you know, such a career highlight. But in a lot of ways, the A Tale of Risky Business 2, charting at all, and knowing that it is all on you, it's like all on your back, and you made it happen. You know.
Also a big highlight.
Big highlight, and maybe even more. You know, maybe even more. To not only see your band's name, but also to see your record label's name, you know, on that list.
The band always reminds me, I think of it a lot of times in terms of a checklist. And I feel like, you know, we checked off all these things at the beginning, and then we jumped to like the top of the list and checked off all these things. And then we started to come into the middle again, and sort of like,
backfill
you know, check stuff off. There's really not much we didn't, you know, couldn't check off.
And do you remember that tour? That tour was bananas. It was 20 days long, and I think we had 18 or 19 shows. Basically impossible. It was December, so it was so cold. I remember I remember I had like a whole setup where I would have a hat, and then I would have my hoodie pulled up over my hat, my jacket over that, gloves on, scarf around my face.
And you had a weird pillow too.
Oh, dude, I had the neck pillow.
Yeah.
And that was
but I feel like it was like
warmth.
an animal or something.
Dude.
It was like an alligator neck pillow or something.
I think it was like pink and furry.
Yeah. It was also the suit tour.
Yes, we were wearing suits the whole tour.
Yeah.
We were trying to figure out what we wanted to what we wanted the look to be of that tour. I remember we were watching Inception, Al, right? We were like,
yeah,
DiCaprio and Joseph Gordon-Levitt just look too boss.
I had 2 suits on that tour for 20 shows.
Those suits were rank.
So you're sweating like crazy, and then the suit, still damp, gets hung up and then put in the wardrobe case. And before it's dried...
To seal in the funk.
Yeah, and then you close the wardrobe case, seal in all that dankness.
And then you open it up the next night, and it's like...
Yeah.
I remember opening that case some nights, and it was
Sometimes I'd be
overpowering.
playing, and I would just be naturally like wafting suit funk.
So, 2012, early 2012, hurricanes started to hit at radio on Sirius XM. So that was kind of an exciting time. We hooked up with new management, Fearless Entertainment, and Mike Mangini was the producer, and so we went into the studio with Mike, and he had an interesting history. He's worked on a lot of cool stuff: De La Soul, BC Boys, Joss Stone.
Baha Men.
The Baha Men, Who Let the Dogs Out. It was a challenging experience for us because he was really pushing us to do something a little different, to try to kind of take a new approach to some of these songs that we had previously written.
It was just the beginning of the end, and it was no one's,
Well, and I think that's what it was. He was like pushing us to do something that wasn't really Honor Society.
Well, it's interesting. Our first record was just the best record. It was the most pure. It was like the most focused. Nobody could tell us anything because we were just so into what we were doing.
As soon as you start writing to please somebody else in a way, you start. It goes with what you're saying. It muddies your vision.
Well, it's inherently forced. It's inherently forced. So, and I feel like people, you can just tell. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just not believable.
The only difference is, and it's super subtle, is if the goal is to please everybody and the artist is 100% on board.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's true.
Then that can work. Any one person, even within a group of many, starts to
pump the brake.
Kind of ride the brake a little bit down the hill. It's just and I think we were all doing that. So it was 4 times over of just this doesn't sound like us.
It was a struggle, man. That was a stressful time.
All of us individually, started to fracture a little bit just because of all of the pressure. And we all kind of tried to, rationalize what was happening and deal with it in our own way.
I'll speak for myself. I don't know about you guys, but fear. I had fear at that point. Where do we go from here? I felt this obligation to you guys, to the band, to the vision, to the project. I felt an obligation to the fans and keeping it alive so as to not let them down. I didn't want to let people down. It's I didn't want to let you down. I didn't want to let fans down. I didn't want to let my family down. I think there was a lot of that, and that starts to seep in.
The only thing I can say is that when all cylinders and all wheels are moving in a similar direction, that's just a magical thing. I think that was always the success of Honor Society was, all 4 of us having one vision going in one direction. We always were really good up until I think the very end of finding people that were fully in tune with that. That includes the Jonas Brothers. We bought in pretty hard to the whole pop thing, but at the end of the day, they really truly saw our vision. I give them a lot of credit for that.
Adam Blackstone.
Chris Dice.
Chris Dice. For whoever Honor Society was a part of their life, if they were fans, through A Tale of Risky Business 1 and Fashionably Late, there's no question that we soundtracked that part of their life. They will never not hear an Honor Society song and immediately be thrust back to at least a summer of their lives, and I think that's really pretty awesome.
louder, please. Y'all about to tear this roof off? Come on!
That's amazing. Those are the kinds of things that I'll take away from the whole experience is, you know, we affected people, like we really did. We formed a lot of long-lasting relationships and friendships. We made, even if it's only a little bit of a mark, we made a mark.
The music that we made did not exist until we made it, and the shows we played obviously didn't happen until we played them, and for that all to culminate in people like meeting each other and getting to know each other and becoming best friends and cultivating relationships, like that's pretty huge.
I know fans that said, oh, like I went to school for music business because of you guys.
Yeah.
Or I'm doing this now because of you guys.
Totally.
And it's crazy, like helping shape people's lives, being a part of shaping somebody's life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, it's amazing, you know. We'll always have that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
roll credits.